What's up guys, welcome back to another video, hope you're doing well today. It has been a hot minute since I've got to enjoy some Krakenberg on this channel. Now, I've done this track so many times on every sort of bike, but one thing that I've never done it on is the Enduro, like the smaller Enduro bikes, like the 125. So I'm on the 2014 Husky 125 right now. And usually I try and take the easy mode and ride the KTM 500, just because I feel like it's always the best for getting up some of the hills. It's a lot more tame, especially in the bottom end, and it just makes life a whole lot easier around Krakenberg, being what I think is probably I wouldn't say the hardest, but it's definitely the most draining of the tracks in the game. You've definitely got to be in the right mindset to take on Krakenberg. Bearing in mind it's usually like a minimum of an hour. Actually, we've still got some ruts here from some previous runs. But as you can see, we get halfway up the hills and I start running out of steam. Now, that's never the case on the 500. I usually just get to pick a gear and roll with it. So I'm going to be very, very interested to see how this 125 is going to cope with it. If I'm going to struggle a lot, if it's going to be better in some areas, where it's going to be worse. And yeah, hopefully you get to have some good fun on it. I've removed max HUD for a change. When I say I've removed max HUD, I've still got speed at the bottom right, and I've still got time at the top left for your guys' eyes to see. You don't just want to see a blank screen, you have no idea what's going on or how long I've been going. However, I've turned the map off because I've done this track so many times now. I know it off by heart. There's no real point for me having the map on anymore, and it just makes the screen look a lot cleaner. I think that, tell you what, for the first quote-unquote difficult hill, that wasn't too shabby whatsoever. Let's fast forwards a little bit. Wait for things to get a little bit more interesting. We're currently sitting at about 30 miles an hour less than I usually do on these straights, so not really going to be gaining time anywhere. And I swear every time I shift from 5th up to 6th, I just feel like I don't move anywhere at all. It's so bloody frustrating. One thing that I did just think of is usually when I finish these races on the 500, I have about 3 litres or so of fuel left, but I always ride the 500s like so boggy. I don't really rev it out anywhere other than the long straights. So I'm very interested to see how much fuel we end up with at the end of the race on this, because I mean, it makes sense that the 125's just burn through fuel a lot more, doesn't it, if you're constantly up on the limiter everywhere? Because otherwise this thing's not moving. Like, there's no chance of me bogging this around the entire track. I mean, not by choice at least. Shift up from 3rd to 4th and it's just like, it just doesn't want to go anywhere at all. Don't matter how many times I spam the clutch, still doesn't work, but it's fine. I do like me a challenge. I'm trying to make things as difficult for myself as possible, and hopefully you guys will enjoy the journey that we're going to embark on here. First things first, let's get over the first difficult log. I can scumbag it. Little jump onto the lower side there. There you are. Bloody straight as narrow up them two hills. Those two, they can definitely catch you out, where they are slightly on and off camber. But the first real big test is going to be coming up in a second after we go through these few switchbacks. And along this long straight, we've got the first actual hard hill to get up cleanly. This one's usually like I want to say like a 70% success rate for me usually on the normal bikes. But that's when I've got a lot of speed and a good run up for it. Let's try it now. Let's find out. We're going to have to downshift a couple times, I reckon. Down into 3rd. I think the downshifting is where it's going to mess me up. Go on, keep going, 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 keep going. Go, 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 go. Don't fall down, please, please, please. I'm very happy with that. That could have done a whole lot worse. And I could tell that I was just wheel spinning the entire time up. I was sat in 3rd gear. There's no way that the bike would have been revving that much if I was tracking the whole way. But you know what? I'll take it. It means I didn't have to shift down as many times, maybe unsettle the bike. And now we've got a very, very long road on a very, very slow bike. And first rock garden, here we go. The easiest one of them all, I believe. Now, I've been finding myself, the bike is very, very light. I've been finding myself kind of oversteering a lot, where I'm used to riding the big boy 500 around here. But so far, so good. The only place that I'm really noticing any difficulties is kind of at that 3/4 of the way up some of the steep hill mark, once I start running out of steam. But in terms of how the bike handles, how it feels, it's really nice. I don't think I'm getting quite as much of the weird and wonderful uphill physics. I mean, that was a very small one, but I'm not sure how that managed to come back round straight. I thought most of the time I would have been dead there, but it's fine. We've got a very, very steep hill coming up in a second. One that I kind of mastered on the bigger bikes, but that was just taking the same technique every time and shifting down gears at a certain point. So very interesting to see how this is going to handle. I mean, we need to get a very wide arc around the bottom of this. Can I use 6th? No, I can't use 6th. It just doesn't move. Right. 5th gear. Swing out wide. I want to try and hit this as straight on as possible. And going to downshift once. Now I need to downshift again. And again. Oh, that was absolutely awful. Right. Take number 2. She just ran out of steam too quickly. Let me go down to 3rd gear instead of 4th. Oh, 3rd's much better. 3rd's much better. Go, go. All the way, all the way, all the way, all the way. Ali, 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 Ali. Wee. Go, 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 go. Oh my god, that poor bloody engine. I don't know how much of that I've just left in the video, but screaming it up the hill in 1st gear. I was so scared that if I shift, I'm just going to start bogging and rolling back down. That hill was deceptively, hold on, English again, deceptively difficult, but so far, so good. It's been very, very pleasant. Been quite enjoying myself. Right, working my way through now to the quite, I mean, some bits are tight, but it's mostly just off camber, little sharp uphills. Very interested to see how it handles up here. I'm going to have to be so delicate on the sticks because the bike is so twitchy where it's so light. I noticed it on a couple of downhills. As soon as I barely touch the brakes, the bike just kind of wants to slide out from under me. But let's see how it goes up here. I mean, the first one or two right there was no problem at all. And I think in my head, I've been shifting up gears way too much. Again, still thinking of the 500 because it will just pull even in like 3rd or 4th. But on this one, you've got to be screaming the tits off of it in 1st and 2nd gear, maybe max. As soon as you shift up, it might be good for 10, 20 feet. But then it'll just start bogging instantly. And as soon as you have to change down again, that's it, all your momentum's gone. You're better off screaming it in the lower gear from the very, very beginning than starting off fast and slowing right down. I'm just coming up to the 14.5-minute mark in the top left for overall time. And usually that is how I know if I'm on a good run, if I finish Sector 1 by 14.5 minutes. I've still got a very long way to go until I get to the end of Sector 1, which is slightly concerning. But I suppose to be expected. You know, a lot of the uphills that I've faced so far, I've had to add for 2 attempts or push it up a little bit just where I've run out of steam. Let's see what this bad boy's like, because usually I jump right to the top, but that's not going to be the case today. Oh, that was pretty damn perfect. Straight as an arrow up there, and I think we've got 1 or 2 logs on this straight, which seems to be no problem. The bike's pretty easy just to pop the front wheel up and over those bad boys. But yeah, I'm probably looking at about 17 minutes or so for the end of Sector 1. Right, we've got the first few proper descents here. Interested to see how the bike's going to handle it. The back end does feel very, very loose, very, very light. Especially if I shift right down into a low gear. I'm supposing that the back wheels will be locking up super easy. So I'm trying to be gentle on the brakes, but then I don't want to get a little bit too much wind in the sails and go absolutely steaming down there because there's just no way of stopping at the bottom. But just trying to be as precise and controlled as humanly possible without getting too carried away. Or brake, spin it around. Skirt. Okay, we'll use the trees to help us. I'll take anything I can get at this point. Jesus Christ. And here we go. We're coming up to the end of Sector 1, just as we go through here. And that is, well, I did say 18 minutes. That's dropped down to 17:53. A minute more than I expected. I'm going to throw predictions out now for like a final time. I think it'll probably be about the 1 hour 15-ish mark, maybe 1 hour 20. If I can get in below that, I'll be a very, very happy man. But yeah, it seems to be like a good 3 or so minutes per sector. And in general, I know there's only 3 sectors in timing, but there is, like, length of the track wise, it's essentially 4. So we'll do 3 times 4, add it on a bit. It'll be about 112 to 120, somewhere around that area. Okie dokie, we've got another big boy coming up right here. And I'm going to keep it in 3rd gear. I know 3rd gear sounds like the bike wants to tell me just to GTFO, but I've been finding success in the lower gears, and please don't roll down, please, 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 I beg. Right, that's fine. Can I just say, our boy's legs, absolutely insane. Like, the calves on this man, just to reverse his bike up like this, very, very impressive. But I know I'm scumbagging it. It's the easiest way to go. I've had so much grief on even the smallest hills, like just not being able to get up. And one thing that obviously doesn't help is a lot of parts of this track are very, very slippery, just due to Beta 17 doing it dirty. And these bikes don't have the updated OEM tyres. They're still on good old stock Pivosos. So as you can imagine, very, very slippery conditions. But We'll keep soldiering on. Can I get up this line? Probably not. Go on, go on, go on. No! Don't crash, don't crash. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Skirt! Fine, we'll take the long way round. I thought that would just be a bit of a brave move trying to get up through there, but it's fine. I'll take the scenic route. I just want to throw it out there whilst we're on the little boring bits of road. Why do we get dirt on the goggles when there's nobody else about? I can understand maybe if it was like super wet, muddy conditions and you ride through like a massive puddle by yourself, it might splash up and get on your goggles, but in perfectly dry conditions like this, I have no idea why the goggles still get dirty. It's a pain in the arse running out of tear-offs when you're just playing around by yourself. I have requested that it be addressed, but I've not had any response as of the point of making this video. But let me know your thoughts on that. Yeah, do you think it should stay how it is? Do you think that, yeah, the goggles just shouldn't get dirty unless there's someone in front of you? I have no idea how you'd go about coding that so the game recognises that there's someone in front of you to get dirty. But I think like that would be a massive dub, a big old improvement. And as we crest this hill very, very slowly, because I'm getting all sorts of proposal physics right now, we finally get to checkpoint 15, which means we get the first proper rock garden. We had the little riverbed earlier on in the run, and now we get this bad boy right here, which is, it's not a difficult one by any means, but it's the first of the like the big ones, let's say. We'll call it the actual proper rock gardens rather than a tiny little riverbed. I've been through here very numerous of times. Never really have too many issues. I might get like a front end like tuck now and then, which will cause me to do a 720 and end up down there, down on the right. But for the most part, I try and stay over to the far right hand side over here, stay away from as many rocks as possible, and then we will go and filter down towards the marshal point or the checkpoint at the very last second. There we go. And we don't go as high in this second part of it, we just kind of chill around here. And all I try and do when I'm going through these is look as far ahead as possible to see where I want the bike to end up, rather than looking right down at my front tyre. Oh, there we go, that's exactly what I meant about the front end kind of tucking a little bit and then the bike getting popped around in a circle. But yeah, I just try and look as far forward as possible so I know where I need to go, rather than knowing where I am. You don't need to know where you are. Of course, the bike's underneath you. And there we go, first one dispatched of with relative ease. Now, I know we're not going to be going anywhere near as fast as usual, but I've got to keep you on board for the threading the needle between the two tyres. So we're coming up to the blue Portaloo, will be on our left, and then we huck a left, and we absolutely gun it and try and thread the needle between the two massive tyres. Usually tends to be about 50-50 on if I make it or if I impale myself and send myself to an early grave. Oh, there we go. That one was no problemo whatsoever. That is kind of what I expect at this point, going down that ridiculous hill. I'm pretty sure, I feel like the snow parts he's made asphalt traction, because they are so ridiculously slippy. It's unreal. Like, it doesn't feel like sand, which I think is the other slipperiest one. But the reason that I'm keeping you on board right now is we get to what is the most hit and miss, or can be the most infuriating log on the entire track for me. If you hit it fine, perfect. If you don't hit it fine, you go tumbling down the hill to your left. And I find the best way is coming out wide and then trying to hit it as straight on as possible. Oh, there we go. Barely clipping over that. I thought it was going to get stuck on top and then have to reset about 20 times. But it's this bike, very surprising. There's some parts that usually I find so easy that I've been having so much grief with. Then other parts that I usually struggle with that this has just made mincemeat of. Like super easy to get through. So I suppose it's just goes to show what bikes have different potential in different areas. Some handle things better than others. I think overall I would still prefer to go with the 500 because I'm like 10 minutes behind where I would usually be right now. But it's still been a good laugh so far anyway. It's very good fun. Definitely give it a go if you have the Enduro pack. Well, it's that time of the run everybody hates the most, both in-game and IRL. We have come to Mr. Cole. We've joined him for dinner. We're at his diner. And this is probably going to be a lot of pain and suffering, because usually I have the power just to kind of like double my way over some of the rocks or give a quick blip of the throttle, pop the front wheel up. Oh god, this is starting already. Please don't crash into this rock. I beg. Oh, thank god. I'll tell you what, the thing that triggers me most about this section as a whole is if you do crash or you get stuck upside down and you reset inside a rock, and then you've got to reset about 4 more times before it finally gets you out of it, and then you go back to the same rock and crash on it again and have to do it again. Oh, it's so bloody frustrating. And this right here, I've never found like a nice way of picking your way through here. I mean, you could try and just gas it through the middle. I usually try and kind of go up and around the outside like that. That was bloody impressive. I didn't expect it to go that nicely. But those are some of the ways I try and get through here. A lot of the time, it just ends up being a bit lucky on if I launch something and end up downsiding it correctly. But so far, so good. I think there's only one or two more, let's call it impenetrable rocks or impassable rocks, where you do have to sometimes go for a bit of luck rather than skill. Right, let's tiptoe our way through here. I'm trying to turn like really gently, but the bike's not wanting to for some reason. Wobbles all over the place in the tight twisty uphill bits, and then when I need to manoeuvre my way around some rocks, it says nope, going in a straight line, heading straight towards it. Gonna sink the Titanic for you. Oh god, there's another one here. I could take the one on the left in between the greenish one on the left and the one on the right. Okay. That did not go to plan whatsoever. So, plan number 2. Let's go up and round. I could push it up and round. That probably would have been the simpler approach, but where's the fun in that? You got to go for the style points. Go for the little braps. Keep it going. And there's one double at the end of this first section that I really do enjoy. And before you turn left and get to do it all again and go back on yourself. I do think the way back is always easier than the way out, though. Go double through here. So glad that he's actually given us bits of dirt to go through. Imagine if this was like the IRL one, it was literally just rock after rock after rock, and you had to ride on top of them. Don't know if it'd be possible. You'd get stuck far too many times, have to reset far too many times. Jump up through here. I can. Oh, please don't crash. Right, let me reverse. Thank you. Got very lucky there. That could have gone horrifically wrong. Bob and weave. Dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge. Right, where is this double? Could be up here on the left. Go, second gear. Here we go. We're up! Oh, I didn't even get all the way up and over it cleanly because the 125 is so bloody puny. It's such awful acceleration on this. Alright, way back should be easier. We'll be okay. And we have finally disposed of the last of the rocks, I think. I can't remember. I hope we have. Oh, God. So, this is now... We're not on the home straight by any means, because there's still some fairly difficult bits to track. I mean, hills, for one thing. Very difficult. But most of the stuff that you come up to and you think, oh my god, how am I going to get past this, is done. There's like basically we're on to the last third of the track, I believe. And I'm still hopeful for like my 1 minute 20-ish time. I think that is a fairly reasonable prediction. And I'm going to try and put my head down, bark on a little bit. I've been so down bad up to this point. Some bits is just a skill issue, like I've been choking hard. And other times I've been getting stuck in a rock, respawning 4 or 5 times. And then getting stuck in the same rock, respawning 4 or 5 times. And that, god, those rock gardens there, they were the most painful they've ever been. I do not recommend. 0 out of 10. The Hill of Doom. I've only made it up this hill one singular time out of all the times I've played this track, even on the really good bikes. I mean, I've made it up this first part here. There's a little ledge that happens halfway up that you can rest on. But I've never made it from the bottom to the very top, all in one go, without having to come to a stop or readjusting myself. So that bit there is always fairly easy, getting up over this first little ledge right here. Please don't fall back down. But no! Definitely didn't fall down. But as I was saying, this bit here, this is where it's difficult. I've made it up all of this once. And I think that was probably back at beta 16 when the traction was OP. So yeah, God knows how you're meant to make it all the way up nowadays. Basically, it's very off camber. There's some really like jagged, sharp bits every now and then. I mean, this is fairly good. This is all right. Oh, I've not stopped. I've not had to push. That's as good as it can get. Other than that little fall halfway along, having to re-push up to that point. Solid. Can't complain with that whatsoever. Here we are. Here at the bottom of this hill lies the second to last most difficult, well, second to last difficult object, not the most difficult object. Yeah, second to last difficult, oh, come on, object on the entire track. Couple of little up and downs, a little bit of rough terrain, which you can see, and grass. The bike does not want to accelerate on grass whatsoever. Very slippery. But once we're through this, we have one more difficult climb, and then we are completely... Come on, please, this is embarrassing. We are on the home straight. So, that 1 minute or 1 hour 20 looks doable. I always forget just how much is left because there's a few wooded trail bits as well and some long straights. But I think, fingers crossed, we should be okay. We should make it in under the 1 hour 20 mark, which I'll be very, very happy with. I'll be quite content with that time. Now, usually, I get this bit pretty bang on the 500. I've got it down to a science. But, as you can see... Please let me go forwards, I beg. Stop rolling me back, you shit game. Ah! I've come to a stop. I'm pressing move forwards. Walk me forwards. Stop making me slide back down the hill. Defeats the point of the button otherwise. Right, take 2. Come on, just push, just push. I'm not accelerating from there. The bike's not moving anywhere. Up, and then... Little spurt up there. Second little spurt. Third and final one. There we go. Oh, thank God. Now we get some nice flat ground until we get to the final difficult bit. And then we'll almost be there. Here we go. We're coming up to the final difficult hill. Up and over the logs. Down into the ditch. Up and out the other side. Tagging the tree on the way through. It's okay. We're surviving. Now it should be just up here on the left. Here we go. I can see it. The trees are opening. So, I've only made it up here cleanly a handful of times. I imagine that on the 125, it's not going to... Yeah, I'm not getting up here. I've got 0 run up. I slid at the very, very bottom. But essentially, you can see this like darker dirt on the ground. You're meant to, with a little bit of momentum, kind of slalom your way up and round. Because it's like bikes has this very, very specific margin of error where if you're on a slope, as long as if you're turning ever so slightly, you get like a little bit more traction than if you're just going straight up, which is very strange. But then if you turn a tiny bit too much, even by a degree, you'll just absolutely wad yourself. You'll flip all over the place and be down bad. But there you go. That's it. It wasn't pretty, but we've made it to the top of the last difficult objects on this entire track. Now I just need to put the hammer down, get through the little, let's call it stadium section, and we will have done it in under 1 hour and 20. And actually getting here in 108, I'm like 99.9% sure we've got that easily. Maybe even 1 hour 15 or so, which, as I said, I think I predicted that really early on. It'd be about 115 to 120. So look at me. I am the Oracle. Predictions. Hell yeah. Since we're going to finish this in plenty of time, how much fuel do I actually have left? Let's go fuel. Oh my God. Okay. That's a lot. I think that's more than usual on the 500. So I started with 11. I think if I had 12... I'm just thinking, if I finished this with 5 litres of fuel left, if I started with 12... I've just gone completely straight on rather than turning, I'm too distracted. If I started with 12, I could potentially get 2 laps in, which, considering all of the crashes and the multiple attempts of hills and stuff that I've had, is actually really good. So, there you go. 125, banging it off the limo, is more fuel efficient than the 500, apparently. Right, I need to stop looking up at the fuel. Let me actually look where I'm going so I don't wobble all over the place. And with 0.2 left, I've only got this little stadium and 2 long straights, and that's it. So it's very doable. Very doable. I wish there was some, like, I wish the stadium section was a little bit bigger. I absolutely love stuff like this. Like, we need more enduro cross tracks. Really do. I absolutely love enduro cross on this game. I mean, the one that Resolute made is by far the best one. So I think it would be hard for anything to step up to that sort of level. But I can wish. I am an enduro lover. Down here. Now, we go round to the left. We've got to wave at the KTM man, as we always do. And then there'll be one downhill, and we'll be done. Where is he? There he is. I see him in the distance. He's merging. Hand out, waving to the boy. Lovely stuff. And then up ahead, there should be 2 guys standing in the way, which I need to veer left on. Here they are, right there in front of me. So I need to turn left down here. Up, transfer down the hill. You can see my tyre marks out here where I've done this exact same line multiple times. Jumping down here. One last left, round to the finish. So not only did we finish under the time... Oh, actually, my timer stopped. I just saw it say 1:10:52 and it weren't moving anymore. So no idea what I actually done that in. I was hoping it was maybe like 1:11 or so before the timer stopped. I'm not too sure. We're going to go venture down into the depths of the world. But I finished with 5.1 litres of fuel, which tells me that if I started on 12, I would currently be on 6.1, now 6. I could get a perfect 2 laps in. So if you want to see me do 2 laps of Krakenberg, let me know. Who knows, I might do it in a live stream or something. We shall see. But if you've enjoyed this video, as always, could you drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hope you have a lovely rest of the day, whatever it is that you're up to. And until catch you in the next video, peace.
Wanted to make it, I guess. You know I live with the criticisms. People are giving opinion, they put it upon a pedestal. A pendant for your thoughts, but I never asked for change. My work ethic's ridiculous, and yours is not the same. I swear to God that I wrote it all with a pure intention. The truest testament with no excessive false aesthetics. You couldn't imagine the fathom the effort I'm exuding. My heart and soul in the ship, and yet they forced me to prove it.